The moment that you doubt the most and have the most resistance, those are the moments when you need to be affirming the hardest, when you need to be focusing the hardest on your desire. Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is RelatableLOA. I am Sarah, and on this channel I talk about the law of assumption, and today we're going to talk about how I get lost in the new story and the new desire that I'm trying to manifest. I did make a couple of videos in this past week or so about how to get lost in your new story and just all about that, but somebody asked if I could make a video about how I do that and my personal process, because I did get pretty general. I was pretty general in the video because it's really just up to you guys and what you enjoy doing. If you like visualizing, you can do that. If you like affirming, you can do that. But I'm going to really talk about what I like to do. I've mentioned before that I like to visualize a lot, so that is a big part of my process. And then when it comes to affirming, I just kind of do it when I feel like it. I do what I feel like when I feel like it. That's pretty much my whole process. Is I really just do what I feel like when I feel like doing it, as far as how I'm focusing, like what technique I'm using to focus. So first of all, my first step when I am trying to manifest anything that feels a little bit bigger to me, not just like a simple, I focus on what I want and it's done kind of deal. It's something that I have a lot of resistance to. When it's something I have a lot of resistance to, I make a list. I sit down and I just kind of make a list, and you can do this mentally, but I kind of recommend doing it like physical, on like your phone, on a piece of paper, computer, whatever. Have a physical copy of it somewhere. I mean, I guess on your computer it's still a physical copy. Like the computer's still a physical thing, right? Like, that's virtual, I guess. You can make a virtual copy or physical copy, whatever works for you. I generally write it down because that's just how I am, and I make a list of my doubts, my fears, everything that I think can stop me from getting what I want. And okay, you gotta make this list very honestly, because I get that we all kind of understand, or we should understand with the law of assumption, that we can have anything and there is nothing that can stop us. But when we're making this list, we have to be honest with the things that we still kind of believe can stop us, or that we believe might, or seem like they would be things that are in the way, or things that come up in our brain a lot that are against the new story. Anything, like you could just take a day and kind of just take in the things you're saying and make a list out of it. Or you can just, if you have a good idea of the things you're thinking, you could write it down. Or you could just sit down and ask yourself, why can't I have this right now? And you usually get like a bunch of responses. What am I afraid of in terms of this desire? What are my doubts in terms of this desire? Just let it all out on the paper. Really be honest with yourself about what your doubts and stuff are. And then you just you got to have a conversation with yourself about how none of that can stop you from getting what you want. None of that has the power to stop you from getting your desire. And so now you have this list and you're aware of the fact that these are the things that are usually going to come up in your brain that are against your desire. There may be other things that come up, but it's good to have like a list and just be like, okay, yeah, I know. Now these are the things that if they come up, I'm going to be a little bit more aware when they come up in my brain. It doesn't hurt you to sit down for a little bit and come up with those. It's not going to ruin your desire, because first of all, nothing ruins your desire. But I know that some people try to avoid things like this because they think it's slowing it down or stopping it. But in reality, you're slowing it down until you are honest with yourself about what you think is stopping you. You had to kind of open up and be honest with yourself about, like, what are my doubts? What are my fears? What is coming up? Because they do matter, and they keep coming up until you kind of deal with them, and you're just like, these don't have any power. You have to kind of look at each one and be like, you have no power over me. I mean, you don't have to look at each one and say you have no power over me, but when they come up, you do. You don't have to make it like a thing where you sit down and do them all at once. You could do that when they come up. But basically, yeah, I make that list. That was a really long explanation of that one little thing, but then I make little increments throughout my day where I set my alarm probably about every hour. If you don't have time for that, you can make it a little bit less, like every 2 or 3 hours. But have certain times throughout your day where you set an alarm and you're focusing on what you want. Now, when you do this, you can visualize, you can affirm, you can script, you can hear, things that imply you got what you want, but you want to have a plan for each one of those things. If you're doing all of them, if you're doing one of them, you want to have a plan for what, like if you're, whatever you're going to do, you want to have a plan for like, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to focus. So for me personally, I have a plan for what I'm going to visualize, I have a plan for what I'm going to affirm, and then when it comes to that alarm going off, I decide in that moment, okay, I'm going to visualize now because that's what I feel like doing, and I'll visualize little short scenes that imply I'm getting what I want. Like if I'm trying to manifest money, I'm going to have a short little scene of me buying a bunch of stuff online. Or I could take that time and go to one of my favorite websites and put everything in a cart. I don't actually have to buy stuff, but that could be my thing of me focusing on like, I have so much money, and while I'm doing it, I would have to keep affirming, I have so much money, I can buy whatever I want. I could do a short little scene of me just like counting a bunch of bills, whatever I feel like implies it to me, like whatever. It just kind of matters, like what do you want to do with your money? What implies to you that you got your money? Or whatever desire you are trying to work on, what implies to you that you got that? Like what kind of scene would imply you got what you want? I know some people will want to marry somebody, but or want to be in a happy relationship with somebody and end up with them, but they'll just focus on being married, and they don't really focus on like being happy and married and being in all the little details that matter. It's not that you have to focus on them all at once, but you want to kind of be clear about the fact that you want these little details, and anything that's non-negotiable for you, you want to make sure you're adding that into your routine. So yeah, if I want to visualize, I'll have short little clips. If I have time, like maybe in the morning and at night, I will have longer visualizations or longer times that I affirm. But if I'm going to go into it and I decide, okay, this time I'm going to affirm, I'll just have affirmations that I know I can use available. Or like I know my story, I know what my end result is. I can say any affirmation that goes with that end result, I can say, and I'm not doing it wrong. It doesn't matter. Now, the one thing that may kind of harm you is if you're focusing on, you have an end result and you're not really getting to the point of what you really want. Like I've had this problem before where I was trying to manifest something and I was being so vague. I was going in so many different directions, affirming so many different things, and I really wasn't getting to the point of like what I really wanted. Make sure that if you're saying any affirmations, like you want to be saying, you can say anything you want that goes with the end result, but make sure that you're saying the ones that really matter to you the most. Like I have like 3 or 4 that I say way more than I say the other ones. Like say I set my alarm and it goes off and I'm going to do it for 10 minutes and I am just looping a bunch of different affirmations, but I'm doing the ones that are important to me the most. I'm not a big fan of just looping affirmations, so that's why I like to have other random ones that still go with my end results or say it in a different way. I don't like to just say one sentence or 2 sentences over and over and over again. I just hate it and I can't. I just don't like it. But if you enjoy that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying you have to kind of work with what you enjoy. So that's really, let me just break it down. First of all, make a list of all the things you think are stopping you from getting what you want, your doubts, your fears, your beliefs, anything you think can stop it. And then you have a conversation with yourself like, no, this can't stop it. I can still get what I want. I'm getting it no matter what. Nothing can stop this from coming. And you kind of want to have that conversation with yourself, but a little bit shorter every time those things do come up. Like, no, I'm still getting what I want. There's nothing can stop it. I acknowledge that this is a thought, a feeling, belief, whatever. I acknowledge that you're there, but you're not stopping me. You got to have that conversation, because a lot of people just try to ignore it, and what they're really saying is you have power and I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid that you're going to stop my manifestation. Make sure you do that. It's really important. And then second, have increments throughout your day where you do it for 5, 10, 30 minutes, however much you have time for. I would say doing it for 30 minutes could be a lot for some people. I usually do like 5 to 10 minutes. If you can do even less, that's totally fine. Just make sure you are finding some time throughout your day to do it. And then when you have more time, like when you get home in the morning before you go to bed, make sure you're giving yourself a little bit longer time to focus. You really just got to commit fully to this. If you have enough time to think against your desire throughout your day, you'll have enough time to put in there real quickly, now, I acknowledge that you're there, but I'm still getting what I want, and then kind of say what you want real quickly. Because let's be honest with yourself. You probably have those doubts throughout your day, and you're like, I don't have time to affirm right now. But you do have time to really quickly say, like, that has no power, I'm still getting what I want is this. Okay, you need to make sure you're doing that and you're making time for that, because you do have time for it. If you have time to think against it, you have time to think for it. So just want to put that out there. I want to make sure that just like there is a lot of people, and I have been in this book before, so I'm not judging. I don't really judge about anything because I've made all the mistakes possible in the past. But there are people who will do it for like a day or two and then they just give up. And I really just recommend not giving up. Just take a leap of faith and just keep going, because so many of us do it right before we make a breakthrough. Because let me be honest with you, a lot of those times when you're doing it for a few days and then you stop and give up, that doubt is like the last piece of doubt before you get it. A lot of the time. I'm not saying every time, because it's always different, but for a lot of people, a lot of the time, that moment when people give up after they've tried really, really hard for a few days is the moment that they need to try the most. That is the moment where you're probably making your last little breakthrough, where you see some evidence. I can't tell you like how many times I've done it, and the times that I keep pushing through, it happens like right after. Like right after I have that moment of like, I'm just gonna give up because I'm not seeing anything. That moment that I don't do that and I just decide to push through, even though it's so hard to push through sometimes, that's when I get my results. And I just want to put that out there, because a lot of people, and I am one of these people, that's why I'm sharing this, will just go for a few days, maybe even a week, and not see results yet, or they'll see like little tiny things that don't really, it could be like explained away easily, and they're just like, I think I'm just gonna give up because it's just not really working out, not getting the results I want. That is the crucial moment when you need to affirm, I am getting what I want. I visualize, do whatever you do, go harder in that moment. Do not give up, do not pull back in that moment, go harder, because those are the moments when you have to do it, and that's when you're really changing the story. Manifesting is really about changing the story, so the moment when you doubt the most is the moment when you need to be affirming the most. I really hope that makes sense. I really need people to understand that, because for so long that's something that I would let get to me and I would just give up. The moment that you doubt the most and have the most resistance is those are the moments when you need to be affirming the hardest, when you need to be focusing the hardest on your desire. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys got something out of this. I really affirm that you did. I really intend that you did. Hope you guys have a good week. Yeah, if you want to sign up for coaching, that information is down below. Thank you guys for watching.